College uniforms have borne the familiar logos of apparel companies for years. But one crusading coach felt the mandate to wear the swoosh was a violation of his civil rights. Rich Eisen has the story.
In the fall of 1997, Jim Keady was studying for his master's in Catholic social teaching at St. John's, the largest Catholic university in the nation. He was also working as a part-time graduate assistant soccer coach. Around the same time, St. John's was finalizing a multi-million-dollar endorsement contract with Nike.
I was being told by the contract, by the language of the contract, and by directives that were coming from the athletic department, that I was going to have to wear and promote Nike's products.
Keady decided he didn't want to, that he could not wear clothing or equipment bearing the Nike swoosh. Not for St. John's, not for anybody, because of what he feels are Nike's unfair labor practices worldwide.
I said, as a Catholic in good conscience, I cannot and will not be a walking billboard for a company that consistently chooses to maximize its profits over respecting basic human rights and human dignity. And St. John's response was, you're wearing this equipment and you're dropping this issue, or you resign. End of story.
Though St. John says it never issued that ultimatum, Keady resigned, ending his coaching career and starting his crusade. In November 1999, he filed an $11 million federal lawsuit against St. John's and Nike, charging that in the language of their contract, both institutions violated his civil rights by forcing him to resign when he refused to wear Nike apparel. Last September, a U.S. District Court judge dismissed the case, claiming it lacked legal merit and that Keady acted in bad faith in his conduct in pursuing the lawsuit. But Keady didn't stop there. He wanted to put his case in human terms, so he took his mission to Indonesia, to the Nike factories and their workers, to put himself in their shoes.
They have 110,000 workers in those factories, and we went and lived in a workers' slum in a 9x9 cement box, rat-infested with open sores, burning garbage. It was one of the more unpleasant places that I've been in, and I've traveled all around the world.
Keady spent more than a month in Indonesia. He lost 25 pounds, living on about $1.25 a day. What Keady says a Nike factory worker makes in Indonesia.
Now, having been there, and I can put faces and names and personal stories to this research that I had done for 2 or 3 years, I can't walk away from that. There's 500,000 workers in need of justice. It may take my entire lifetime, and we still may not see the justice come, but I can't stop working for it.
This past March, Keady took his crusade to Nike headquarters in Oregon. While shooting video for his own documentary, something unexpected happened. Keady spotted Nike's CEO, Phil Knight.
Finally. Yeah. Listen, I was hoping we could set up some time when we could talk. I'm really concerned about the workforce in Indonesia. You know, I spent the summer there living with them and living on the wages that are paid to the factory workers.
You worried about that?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you call my secretary? Let's do that.
I did. I called Lisa last week. I called Beta. I called Dusty. I called Brad Feigl. I called Amanda.
Maybe you have to talk to somebody else. Maybe we talk to Dusty Kid.
But, I mean, you're the guy. The buck stops with you, right?
Yeah, it doesn't start with me, though.
I know, but I mean, I don't know who else to talk to. I
Talk
tried.
to Dusty Kid.
He doesn't want to talk to me.
Well, then I guess you're going to get through then.
But you're the man. I mean,
Thank you.
you're the man that needs to.
I appreciate your concern, but I'm having lunch with a friend, and
No,
we talked about it.
I apologize for interrupting.
Sorry about that.
I mean, I've come all the way from New Jersey to talk to you about this.
Well, I'm not talking to you.
I've gotten stonewalled at every turn. You know, the workers had asked of me that I try to bring you back to Indonesia to meet them in their homes, not in the office in Jakarta.
Do you understand? No. You just got to know. I'm not going to talk to you about it.
Nike officials declined to be interviewed but issued a statement saying, in part, undeterred by Nike's correspondents declining his offer to meet, Mr. Keady unfortunately chose to travel to Oregon to ambush Chairman Phil Knight at company headquarters during a luncheon meeting with a guest. Mr. Keady's perspective, as presented by ESPN, can hardly be considered objective. We urge the public and our loyal consumers to evaluate for themselves the extent of our continuous improvement efforts in wage, age, and corporate responsibility. Though the lawsuit against Nike and St. John's was dismissed last fall, Keady has since appealed his case and oral arguments were presented last month. The appeal is still pending.
I would like my lawsuit to set legal precedent that would allow any coach or athlete to say, as a matter of conscience, now regardless of how that conscience is grounded, whether it's religious, political, social, economic, whatever the case might be, that they have a constitutional right to say no, and to say, I want to wear generic equipment. They should have that right.